This is the most viral e-reader I have seen in my decade-long career covering e-readers in the book space. It has had a measurably incredible meteoric rise to the top of this competition, all created by a company less than a year old. A company founded in Hong Kong, at least on paper, is now outselling not only many Kindles, even on Amazon, but the entirety of the Kobo catalog, the book's Palma, and any other e-reader you can name, at least at the moment. That might change soon. This is largely due to an impressive word of mouth supercharged by content creators. But there is a side to this story that I believe when recommending this device to people is reckless to leave out and borderline negligent when asking others to spend their hard-earned money, even with the cheaper price tag and the fact that it could save you money on books.
Is it too good to be true?
That being said, I absolutely love my XTE Inc. X4. It is by far the e-reader that I have used the most in my life and has measurably cut down on my doom scrolling. Putting it plainly, the XTE Inc. is a hardware smash hit that has filled the gap in the market like no other e-reader before it with such a simple feature. It's pocketable. Even in women's pants, trust me, we experimented. And it comes with a MagSafe-esque adapter so that you can keep this in your pocket with your phone and instead of doom scrolling, flip it over and jump right into whatever book you're currently on. Those two features alone were enough to sell me on trying out an X4. And with this thing, I was able to get through 3 books in a span of 2 weeks, all of which I got for free, because unlike many other e-readers, this is in a DRM-free space and has literally resulted in me saving money, though before we get into that, I want to speak on my long list of concerns. I don't like what e-readers have become. Personally, I think making them smarter ends up with us being dumber, adding features, frankly distractions, to the device that is supposed to help you focus on reading and look away from the doom scroll addiction. Maybe it's being done intentionally to keep us distracted, though it's probably just the more features you can cram into a list below your device on a sales page. Consumers, not thinking beyond just they want the best bang for their buck, are going to end up buying the, oh, it has the note-taking and I can watch videos on it? That's fantastic. And the XTE Inc. cuts out all of the bullshit and fills in my specific use case for an e-reader perfectly by being dumb as a rock. But I want to hit home my specific use case. I'm someone who struggles to stop looking at my phone, and as technology has gotten better, I am inclined not to want more software features built into my devices, and instead I want them to be smaller with a better battery life. And that's the shining beacon selling point for the X4. And it comes with the kind of weirder, more roundabout way you have to sideload ebooks onto it. But there's an even stronger selling point I didn't even consider until I got into its fan-made ecosystem. All 5 books I have put on my X4 I got for free from Project Gutenberg, and this has no DRM protection, so you can just throw them right on and start blazing through it. I am on track to pay for the cost of this device within a month. It's a firm reminder that the breezy stores larger companies make for us are deliberately designed to keep us unconsciously within their ecosystems. Yeah, there might be a free way to get a book online legally, not even pirating, but hey, if it's $1 on Kindle, you'll just spend $1 on Kindle. Before you go into the description and click the affiliate link, which yes, I'm actually going to push you to buy this from Amazon for once in my career, but that's for damn good reason. Let's get into the many negatives of the XTE Inc. X4, the one I can speak on using. I would not call this a safe e-reader from a consumer protection standpoint. In fact, I would go as far as to call it rather dangerous in comparison to almost any of its competition. Many people do exaggerate the fear-mongering of buying anything made in China, but my concerns don't come from some kind of suspicion about spyware, and instead, the software that comes loaded in this device is borderline unusable. It's not just bad, it will fuck up basic accented words and completely fail with images. If you are going to use the affiliate link below to buy it, you will need to do some workaround installations. The good thing is, a lot of the content creators have talked about the fact that it's hyper easy to load in a community created firmware that fixes every single software complaint I had about the XTE Inc. Literally, you just click like 4 buttons while having the device plugged into your computer, restart it, and you're good. The problem is, this might not always be possible. The company behind the X4 has just announced in the last few days that they're going to be taking steps to prevent people in the future, at least within China, for now, we super promise, from sideloading in some kind of alternative community-made software. There's already been pushback and signs that they might be walking this back a bit, but from my own experience, once companies indicate they have an inclination going towards this anti-consumer behavior, they're not going to stop at just one step. Many more are soon to follow. Now, the people behind the community firmware have actually announced workarounds for the potential hot fixes that are going to be put into these devices. This means, though, you as a consumer have to consider whether or not you want to enter into a borderline hostile relationship between you and the company that makes it. But it's not quite as bad as it sounds, because once you do get one and manage to load in the firmware, which is still exceptionally easy to do as of now recording this video, you're set. There's no aftermarket update they can somehow send over the airwaves to brick your device. I wish I could say the problem's in there though, but they don't. I hate that in this specific situation, I am actually pushing you as a consumer towards an Amazon affiliate link, but I'm doing it for your own good. Amazon's return policy is the only way you're going to avoid the many complaints you can find online from customers who almost every single time bought one of these bad boys from the company's website. This involves lost orders, a complete lack of customer support response, and many of the other issues you would expect to see from a small company that has seen viral success and is failing to keep up with the baggage that brings. So if you use Amazon instead with their return policy, nearly every issue you could find, even when in the process of sideloading in firmware, like you somehow mess up this crazy easy process, can be remedied by returning it, not getting another and deciding it's not for you, or just swapping it for a replacement. All right, we've talked about the good and the bad. As with any product, we actually need to talk about the more mixed bag angle as well. The build quality is fine. For $70, I am mildly impressed. I don't mind that there isn't a touchscreen. I actually kind of prefer that. And the fact that there are buttons to turn the pages on both the sides and the bottom means reading at night, cozy in bed, when I'm kind of just rolling around, is always simple. I can do this, whatever, and I can turn the page with just a simple click or thumb flex. I do end up bumping them occasionally, but frankly, that's whatever. I have a far harder time with the lack of a backlight. That's a huge deal for me, and the largest glaring hardware issue with this thing. I had to buy a small red light night light to put over my shoulder that wouldn't bother Kayla so that I could actually use this for nighttime reading. It is such a glaring problem. How can you not put a backlight in this thing? I get that it might hurt the battery life a little bit, but I would like to, be able to read in the dark. That's kind of the biggest selling point for many modern e-readers. In fact, it's such a problem that if any other company put out a comparable device at this price range with a similar build philosophy, I would immediately switch. I did mention the battery life though, and I got to admit, it's incredible. I've fully read 2 books on this device now, loaded in more, fiddled around with it a ton. I think I plugged it in for like a couple of minutes once, and it's currently sitting at over 90%. This isn't adding to my battery anxiety in the least. I know some people have issues reading on certain e-ink screens and they need hyper crisp letters. I can't imagine anyone's gonna have a problem reading on this, though it is a really small screen and you're going to end up turning pages a lot. With clicky buttons, I didn't mind that much. They're kind of satisfying to press. I really like this cheap little case you can get with it. It's probably how I end up reading with it the most, especially later in the day. And yeah, the MagSafe clip onto your phone is just so convenient that it's kept me off the addiction devices, though this magnet isn't quite as strong as the case. And so when pulling it out of my pocket, occasionally it just comes off and I find myself just reading on it like this. The real selling point here, though, is that it's slim enough that because the camera bump on your phone is there and this kind of just comes to that, you don't even feel it in your pocket. You're not adding to the uncomfortable bulk of your pants. That's the way to say that. I'm left in a strange position. I get the viral hype behind this thing. It's genuinely a hardware smash hit mega success in terms of filling a gap in the market. An actually pocketable e-reader. I'm just surprised there aren't a ton more hitting the shelves alongside with it. My screen time on my phone is genuinely plummeted. That in itself is a success worth celebrating. And I find myself kind of loving it. Maybe a little bit because I had to work a little harder to get it exactly as I wanted. But this success is purely one of hardware. It is filling a gap, and the company, despite itself, is benefiting massively as the market is responding to what they've made. That company, though, XTE Inc, has not impressed me. And their software is laughably broken. And instead of embracing a community that's improved their device, they are now taking steps to punish them, which really upsets me. Who do I recommend this to? People who are addicted to their phones like me, who want an e-reader they can just flip around and have to keep them from doom scrolling. It has zero temptation, as I've seen their e-readers and stuff now that you could put social media and even videos on. What the f***, y'all? It's just books, it's just reading. I'd also say people who are kind of curious about new tech like myself. I have a background in tech, so seeing something like this be so big so fast was fascinating to me, and it's been fun to experiment with. If you're also hyper annoyed by me with companies cramming in software features that you just feel like you're never going to use and end up bloating the ecosystem, you will not get a more bare bones one than this. This is a dumb e-reader. Dumb as a rock.
I can't believe I didn't say this in the original recording, but also the price range. This is the cheapest e-reader I've ever seen at $70.
I think this is actually the first e-reader I've ever had that has made me read faster and more than a physical book, because instead of turning a page, I'm just clicking, and it's, I don't know, just so much easier to have on me than like a book that's in a bag. Yet, if you are in any of those groups, you also have to overcome the hurdle of being willing to get past all the other problems I've pointed out. I hate to say this, but it's also like a move now or wait it out option. Either get one of these ASAP through the affiliate link below so that you can load in the community firmware and avoid all these problems that the company is possibly going to make worse as they try to restrict their device, or inevitably, a competitor is going to see this thing's success reaching the top 10 on e-readers on Amazon and release something that has a similar hardware philosophy. Just wait for that. You just also have to hope whatever company that is doesn't decide to also make this something that you can get on the Tixtagram talk. Oh, you want to be able to do the thing like this? We're going to you're distracted again. Brain rot. Bit of a paradox. The XTE Inc 4 is a complicated device for those who want something simple. It's remarkably easy to use with a bit of work. I find the readability of it to be at an all-time high while having the most restrictive screen on the market. It's cheaper than some video games now, and you'll likely end up using it for hundreds, if not thousands of hours, while encouraging you to actually get your ebooks potentially for free. I had The Grapes of Wrath and East of Eden on my TBR, but because I could grab them for free from Project Gutenberg and just toss them on here, they got thrown up to the top and, oh yeah, encouraged me to keep it free. So what do I give it? It's kind of like a toxic relationship. It's unlike anything else on the market. I just hope the mind behind it changes course and has a friendlier disposition toward our relationship. Would I bet on it? No. Now, when it comes to the success of the XTE Inc X4, there's a secondary conversation to be had that I find to be almost as interesting as the device itself, and that's the conditions in the market right now that exist for a device that is so dumb to reach actually the top of the category it's in. To be fair, it's not the most impressive thing of all time to float to the top of a category for a while as a device. It happens to literally thousands of products every single day on Amazon, and like all of those products, eventually this will just fade away like the rest. But I do think a device like this that had an almost natural word of mouth float to the top makes it more substantial of an indicator of the current conditions of the market than devices released with gargantuan marketing campaigns behind them that almost are forced by default with brand recognition into the top slots. And in a world where we are inundated with people trying to break away from the social media addictions and dumb phones are rising in popularity, seeing something like this come into flourishing almost feels like it had to be spat out by the universe, because we're seeing, e-readers essentially become more and more like tablets, which to me stinks of tech mindset that doesn't actually understand what readers want directing the flow of these devices. Of course, I am aware there are markets out there that have bought loads of these smarter e-readers that do just kind of verge into being tablets or dumb phones in themselves, that are looking for those products and want them. But I actually think if with this hardware philosophy of being slimmer, portable, was embraced by a larger company like Kobo or Amazon and put in front of a ton of people, we would see it sell like crazy. This is something that is almost having to fight against its creator to find success. If there was a built-in market, you could even sell this to people as their secondary e-reader that's connected to their Kobo or Kindle, what have you, and automatically updates with the pages. That's kind of actually been my software biggest complaint so far. As much as I am someone who doesn't love these tech ecosystems a lot of the time, the simple conveniences, especially at this price point, can be a lot harder to turn down. I love this. Not because of who made it, but just because of a couple simple choices at conception. And I have no loyalty to this company. If one I tend to prefer a little bit more or does have at least some of the features of the ecosystem I like Kobo, decided to do something similar, I would jump on it in a heartbeat. And I actually think that's one of the reasons them fighting their community so early on is going to be a cancerous decision for this company, because they had the chance to have so much goodwill behind them and they've kind of squandered it.